Hi, I'm Deborah Morris, City Councilwoman for District 2. Welcome to the fifth or sixth District 2 Town Hall, which is a State of the District meeting. This will last about an hour. I'll be moving very quickly. So since this is a video, you're able to go back and rewatch it, or you can certainly contact me afterwards by phone or email if you have any questions or you need further details about any of the things we're going to go over today. I am doing this as a repeat of the in-person town hall that I actually presented this last week on July 13th. So a number of people who were not able to make that date have requested a video repeat. So that's what we're doing now. And I'm doing this, recording this by way of Zoom. We're all pretty sick of Zoom, including me. So you'll have to be patient with me as I go through the screen sharing process. So buckle up, I'm going to share a screen and we will get started, I hope. All right, so let's go. First up is the downtown square redesign. Construction will begin later this year to redevelop the square. And if you're not familiar with our downtown square, it's between State and Main, 5th and 6th streets, and will take an estimated 24 months to complete. And let me see if I can have the cursor show. So just to give you a quick view of the plans for the square, here in the southeast corner is a large performance plaza. It's in front of the recreational and event lawn, okay? And although for some reason a number of people in the community have thought that we were going to erect a permanent covered stage in this site, that's not something we want to do. That removes a lot of flexibility from the use of the recreational lawn and that corner. So this will be a stage that we will bring in and erect on a temporary basis for concerts and large events, and then take down to open up the use of that corner. The northwest corner over here, you see this colorful area. It's a shaded pavilion. And the concept for this is interesting, where the overhead pavilion is actually made of multicolored metal pieces that will move with the wind. I don't know if that's exactly what we're going to end up with in the final design stages, but that's what the concept is now. And that shaded pavilion is a space, a permanent space for smaller daily or impromptu performances and special programs. The southwest corner over here, there will be what we're calling a tree house. And it isn't really a tree, it's a metal tree-like observation tower. So have spiral staircase going up and an observation tower where you can go up there, overlook the square in the downtown and see what's going on. It's near the children's area, which is an imaginative play area that will have a lot of different amenities built in. And again, I'm not going to give you too terribly many details at this point because the final designs are due in just in the next few months. Finally, you see this promenade that's in this kind of brown color that sweeps through here. This is a broad pavilion that is envisioned to be large enough so that vendors, like with Urban Market, can set up their vendor booths and tents and still have plenty of room for a crowd of pedestrians to walk past and have it all be on a nice pavement. The promenade will be illuminated, and staff says artfully. So we do have some concepts for that, and so artful lighting means it's not just broad glaring LED lights. It will have a certain amount of grace to it. And we do have things posted on the city website and also on my Facebook page that gives you a video with some of these concepts. It's just too long to use for this today. So streetscapes immediately around the square. State Street and 6th Street, this is what's here now. And in front of the businesses, you've got about a 6-foot deep sidewalk. And a 6-foot deep sidewalk gives you not much space to like put out cafe tables or to do pretty much of anything except just have people walk by. The proposed streetscape change will be to have that 6-foot sidewalk become a 14 to 17-foot sidewalk directly adjacent to the businesses, which will allow a lot more things to be put out front while still giving pedestrians plenty of space to walk by. Same thing over here on Main Street. Right now, Main Street has a deeper sidewalk in front of the businesses, so that's 13 feet, but it would be growing a little bit by 15 to 16 feet to provide more space. Finally, here are some broader area streetscapes you can see for the area going out around the square. We're actually going to be redeveloping 14 blocks around the square, not just the square. And so there will be a lot of elements, including lighting, pavement, and other artistic elements that will be tying all that together with the downtown square. So here's a scope of work and project elements. So right now, you've probably noticed if you've gone downtown, we're working on the Main Street alley, which is 5th Street to 7th Street. And the streets and infrastructure immediately surrounding the square are going to have extensive work. And understand, I didn't bring a picture of this, but these streets will, all 4 of these streets surrounding the square will be dug deep because all of the water lines and everything else underground, which are deep, they're going to be replaced before the new street paving and street parking paving goes back on. So we're not going to tear it all up at once. We're planning to start on 5th Street and then rotate counterclockwise, are the plans right now, around the square, and to only tear up one side of the square at a time. All the businesses will remain open throughout this process, and we are planning all kinds of things to keep the downtown vital and exciting. We're making plans for off-site parking and probably shuttling people right to the door of their preferred business, probably in golf carts, since we own some at Firewheel. I was opting for horses and carriages or ferries or something, and I am told that that would cost way too much, so it's probably going to be golf carts. But you will have a lot of volunteer concierge people on the square to help you find what you want to find, and we're going to do our best to provide intensive support to all of the downtown businesses during this time. The gateway over here at the southeast corner of Main and 5th, and there's a marquee sign here now. As soon as we have the underground water pipes and all that and irrigation for this area, we will be putting in some really nice landscaping there that will be a welcome gateway into the square. And also, these 2 areas here are going to be pedestrian crossings at the railroad tracks. And if any of you walk downtown a lot, you know that these 2 areas are not currently pleasant to try to get across those tracks. So we have already funded and called for pedestrian crossings to go in at both of these sections at the railroad track. All right, Central Library. And I'll just put the disclaimer that they put up here. All these images are concepts. These things aren't exact pictures of what we expect to do, but they are, we plan to do something similar, okay? So Central Library is being totally reimagined. We're providing patrons with state-of-the-art technologies and all kinds of new things. So features will include a new main entry. Right now, if you go there much, you know that the front of the library faces Austin Street, and that's just got parallel parking on both sides of the street. It's not convenient for those who have any kind of disabilities or mobility issues. So the new entrance is going to slide around to the left if you're facing the library, right next to the huge parking lot, and give very direct access to what will become the new front of the library. The space is going to be redesigned to have both indoor and outdoor reading and programming areas. And of course, this is all funded through the 2019 bond program plus the CIP and CARES funds. So some of the other features include a makerspace and small business incubator that has fun new tools like recording equipment, plotters, laser cutters, 3D printers, a lot of requests for that, software, and a lot more. There will be a new children's area that will promote literacy and a lot of hands-on learning. There'll be an area to showcase art by our local artists, another high volume request. And new public meeting room spaces, including a new large meeting room for large gatherings. So we met it for this in-person town hall this week in the North meeting room at Central Library. And as much as I have appreciated the hospitality of having that space available, and I've used it for almost all, maybe all my previous town halls, I will tell you that the new public meeting rooms are going to be amazing, and I cannot wait. So quickly, the construction will start here in a few months in late fall or early winter, and it will take about 12 months to completion. Central Library will be closed the entire time during the renovation, but as we learned during the pandemic, we learned all kinds of new tricks and new ways to do things. We'll be using all those tricks for this next year. So there will be temporary library services set up in the immediate vicinity, and don't ask me to define that because it hasn't been ironed out yet, but it will be very close to the same area. It'll provide access to computers, printers, scanners, copiers, periodicals, reserved items, and also library staff will be there to assist. And any of you who are patrons of Central Library already know the staff there are magic makers. So they'll be there and they will make sure you get taken care of. All programming for children and adults will be provided at the other branch locations, North, South, and Walnut Creek. Okay, the new animal shelter. Okay, so here, if you look at the drawing, the rendering on your left, that's the concept for the new shelter. On the right, you see what it looks like right now. It's coming along quickly, and it's on schedule still to open in March 2022. These are just some of the talking points about the new shelter, and there's a lot more than this, but basically it's 70% larger than the existing shelter, but it is going to be able to house twice the number of dogs as the current shelter, 3 times the number of cats, plus exotic pets, and we have had everything in there from giant bighorn sheep to iguanas to, of course, chickens quite frequently, goats, peacocks, all kinds of animals end up in there. So there will be space for them. There'll also be a dedicated medical suite for all of the medical things that happen at the shelter. I won't read all of this to you, but this will be a joy to the community, a joy to the animals, and a joy to the shelter staff and volunteers and rescue groups and all the people who come and make it happen. So, but I want to also point out some huge changes and successes at our current facility. Understand our current facility is over 50 years old. It is not air conditioned. It was formed as an outdoor, an open air animal shelter back in the day. And that was when a lot of homes and businesses weren't air conditioned either. But that is no longer a norm and hasn't been for a very long time. So it has been patched together with all kinds of things to make it livable until we could get a new shelter. But how is the shelter functioning? Well, I want to share June 1st last year through May 31st this year, the shelter maintained a 100% live release rate. Understand that the standard live release rate for a so-called no-kill shelter is only 90%, okay? And it was a partnership with rescue groups and transports that made this, actually made this able to happen. Now, I did just find out in the last few days since the town hall that June this year, last month, the stats came in and we had a huge crush of strays and owner surrenders, which are always tragic. And because of the vast overcrowding, it went way past our capacity. 4 dogs were euthanized last month. These were dogs that were not adoptable due to aggression and biting. Rescue groups tend not to pick them up unless they're tiny, tiny, tiny dogs. So we lost, sadly, had to euthanize 4 dogs last month, and that brought our current, as of now, live release rate down to 98.7%, which is still outstanding. But again, none of us like having to euthanize. And I will tell you that Art Munoz, the director at the shelter, He just said no healthy adoptable animals will be euthanized at the Garland Animal Shelter. That has been his commitment, and that remains his commitment. So some other changes. The shelter hired a full-time animal behavioral specialist. And if you wonder why, then we have many times animals that come in who do have behavior problems that make them not immediately adoptable, but they're solvable. So they do behavior mod interventions, and these are all professional skills for professional handlers. And that has made a big difference in keeping a lot of animals off the urgent list, because the urgent list is for animals that have nowhere else to go. And those are the sad cases. Sometimes our animal behavioral specialist has actually changed their behavior enough to get them off that list, which is great. The shelter also created an animal cruelty division that's resulted in responding to over 300 calls for cruelty, 73 animals being removed, and 8 arrests related to animal crimes. And finally, a new certified dangerous dog investigator who has this year already investigated 63 cases. All right, streets and alleys. Again, I'm sharing with you some of my favorite pictures. None of these are in Garland, but I just like them. So what has been done and what's next? And again, I'm focusing on District 2. This is not citywide. This is a state of the district. So here we go. These are the District 2 street projects that have been completed in the last 2 years, okay? Here on the right, the column of full asphalt overlays, I kind of ran out of space, but here they are. And then residential street reconstructions, and what that means is they get their old street torn out, a brand new street put in with brand new sidewalks, curbs, and driveway aprons, all at no cost to the residents on that street. So these are the streets that have already been reconstructed. These are other residential street rehabilitations. This isn't brand new tear out streets for the most part. Although I'm halfway thinking Avenue H and 9th was a full reconstruction, but anyway, rehabilitation generally means you have a concrete street that has still some viability, and it has bad spots, and they go and they cut the bad spots out, dispose of them, and pour in a new concrete into the square to replace the bad spots, and it gives you a good solid drivable street for a long time. So this is what we've done in the last 2 years, and I am very happy with this. This is more street repairs and replacements than this district has seen in many, many years, or possibly ever. Now, this is where it starts to get even more exciting. These are the in progress or planned future District 2 street reconstructions. Again, reconstruction is brand new street. Old street gone, new street inserted. And I'm not going to read all these to you, but I will tell you Glenfield and Celeste are currently in progress right now. As soon as Celeste gets done, will be Arcady. The rest of these, well, Rolando is definitely scheduled for next year. The rest of these all the way down, they're in alphabetical order, not the order that they'll be addressed. They are in the next construction cycle. So the next construction cycle is over about 5 years, 2022 to 2026. And as these get specifically scheduled with a date, begin end time for construction, I will be announcing that and letting you all know. But in the meantime, I wanted you, a lot of you live on these streets. These are bad streets. They've already been inspected by streets and selected for full reconstructions. You'll see here where it says water line replacement required or water and sanitary sewer replacement required. That's just to note that before the actual streets go in, these preliminary things will need to be done. So if you want to grab a screenshot of this, if you live on one of these streets, help is on the way. It won't be tomorrow, but it's coming, and you are on the radar and things are in motion for you to get a new street. All right, alleys. We have fewer paved alleys in District 2 than I think any district in the city, but we do have some, and some of the ones we have are very old. These 3 at the top are being reconstructed, which is just like streets torn out and replaced because they've gone bad. Here at the bottom, these are unpaved alley. pavings that are planned. And understand this is a 2019 bond program funding for paving unpaved alleys for the first time ever. And District 2, we're coming out way ahead with this because, frankly, we have the most unpaved alleys. So we're getting off to a rolling start with this. These are the alleys that are on the list. And these are proposed not for distant future, but for later this year and next year. All right, sidewalks. I've talked about sidewalks a lot, so I'm going to go over this quickly. In July last year, we passed an ordinance to reform our sidewalk repair program to make it less expensive for homeowners. We have forever, I think, always offered a 50-50 cost share program, which a lot of cities don't even do that. There is just sidewalks are generally the responsibility of the homeowner. We've done 50-50, but that was still way too expensive for many homeowners. The average cost for a sidewalk replacement for a typical address, and we have a lot of smaller lots in District 2, so it wouldn't probably be quite this much, but it's still about $2,000, meaning that the homeowner has to pay $1,000 or more dollars. It's too much. So the new program we approved last year, it includes additional discounts on top of the 50% discount. So if you have a homestead exemption on your home, that gives you an additional 15% discount in addition to 50%. If your home is in a CDBG area, community development block grant area, then, and I put a map over here, the Texas shape that you see in the middle, that is District 2. That's the way our district is shaped, which I like. The blue areas are CDBG areas, and you can see a good amount of our district falls into those block areas. You get an extra 15%. And finally, if you have a senior exemption or a disability exemption, you get another 10%. So if you qualify under all three of those, your cost for a new sidewalk will be 10% of the total. And we also offer payment plans so that you can, even the smallest amount, you can spread it out over, you can spread out the part that you owe over a long period to make it less distressing. If you have questions, grab this phone number, call the engineering department, tell them you're interested in a new sidewalk, and let them start working on it. All right, parking marshals program. I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but this is a graphic of the tickets by violation. So the biggest thing here currently in the last year has been parking across the sidewalk. Anybody who doesn't know, you can't do that. That's not ever been legal. I've been in the city over 35 years. It wasn't legal when I moved here, and it's never been. So the sidewalk does not belong to your driveway. So you cannot be blocking it. And that's because we have people in wheelchairs. We have children on bicycles. We have people walking with canes. A sidewalk is for pedestrians. And if you block or partially block it, you're basically making pedestrians step out into the street or close to the street to get around your vehicle. So don't park on the sidewalk. Second one here is parking where there's a no parking sign. Then parking an oversized vehicle on a residential street, can't do that. And the green is parking on unimproved surfaces, which almost always means grass. You can't park on the grass. Just don't do it. You'll get a ticket. So let's look at some of the most frequent residential parking problems. And I went over some of them just now, but oversized trailers, oversized vehicles, trailers, and other commercial vehicles parked on streets in residential neighborhoods. You can't block driveways, sidewalks, or park on grass. Can't park within 30 feet of stop signs. You can't block fire hydrants. You can't block alleys and streets, so on and so forth. So you know, the parking fines. I just want to be clear on this. One change we made last year is we took parking tickets and moved them from being a criminal offense to being a civil offense. That is an advantage on any number of levels. So, and it also reduced the fines involved. So current parking fines it's $25 for your first ticket in a rolling 12-month period, $50 for the second ticket in a rolling 12-month period, and $75 for all tickets after that. If you have 3 or more tickets that you haven't paid, and that are past due, your car is subject to being immobilized. Not fun. If you have 5 or more that you haven't paid, your vehicle is subject to being impounded, and that starts to get into some serious money. One new amendment to our parking ordinances, a lot of people have been surprised to find out it's new because they assume this has been illegal all along. Unregistered vehicles parked on the street are now a violation. It's already illegal to drive unregistered vehicles on the street. So this is just a kind of a common sense addition. But right now, for the next few months, the parking marshals are giving out warnings. But after that, it's going to go into tickets. You can't store unregistered vehicles on neighborhood streets. All right, going into some fun stuff. District 2 parks. We are having a lot of fun things going on at many of our parks. So I'm going to run over them quickly. First, what have we already done? The dog park is complete. And I have to tell you, I live kind of diagonally across the street from it where I have a good view of it. That has got to be one of the most popular and the most used park amenities we have in this city. There's always a crowd of people there enjoying each other. And for those of you who don't understand dog parks, and frankly, I didn't 3 years ago, and I thought it was a huge waste of money. Dog parks are not really about dogs. They're about dog owners, okay? The dogs bring their owners to the dog park, but I sat in Rowlett's dog park before we ever built ours, and I just watched for over an hour. And it turns out that owners of dogs come to dog parks, their dogs introduce their owners become friends, and this becomes a ongoing social gathering area for the people, and their dogs are an excuse. And they like bringing their dogs there and letting their dogs have fun and friends. But this is not a park for dogs. This is a park for people with dogs. All right, Central Park Playground is done, and you can see the pictures down here, and 2 extremely adorable children to the left who happen to be some of my grandkids who were visiting. And so it's a beautiful, fully accessible park, and it has a lot of sensory friendly elements that's unique to the city. We have a new restroom at Ball Field 1 that's close to the ballpark, to the dog park, and also close to Ball Field 1. It was badly needed. Very glad to have the brand new restroom there. And also the Central Park Ball Field LED lighting upgrades. So those were also needed. Any of you who played out there, had kids play out there, know that the previous lights were not great. That's done now. All right, currently in progress, we've got the Granger Annex renovation. And you can see here the current Granger Annex and just a drawing of some of the things that are going to be happening there. We've got the construction documents almost complete. Construction is currently scheduled to start in a few months in fall, late fall this year. So the annex, I'm going to read this. It's getting new windows, new floors, an updated kitchen, so needed. Updated restrooms, ditto. New finishes, an outdoor covered patio. We're bumping out the back and turning it into an outdoor patio, which is a trend we're moving toward with our recreation centers. New landscaping, new roof. So we're excited about that. Gale Fields Rec Center. The rec center is getting renovated. It's currently closed, so these things are actually happening right now, and it's supposed to be completed in early fall 2021, which is just a few months from now. The project includes new finishes, an updated kitchen, a new wood gym floor, and a shaded outdoor patio built off the multi-purpose room. So I'm providing another shaded outdoor area. All right, so playground replacement, Lou Huff Park and Douglas Park. This is Lou Huff's playground that's currently under construction. All the major site work is complete. We're waiting for a shade structure that's going to be installed. And then after that will be playground surfacing, then landscape and irrigation to complete it. We're looking at having it completed actually, hopefully by the end of next month. Douglas Park. Again, similar, the major site work is complete. They're installing the playground equipment right now. Then the playground surfacing, landscape, and irrigation, and that also is done by the end of next month, which is August. Garland Senior Activity Center. These are renovations that, like many other renovations, have been needed for a long time. It's currently in the document phase, and construction is scheduled to start fall this year, so a few months. It'll take about a year to finish it all. So this includes updated finishes throughout, an expansion of the fitness room, and any of you who have been to the Downtown Senior Center and been to the fitness room know this is desperately needed, this expansion. I'm small, but even at my size, trying to fit between the equipment and it is way too cramped, it's way too crowded, it's way too small, and it is very, very used by the seniors. So they're getting an expanded fitness room. All new windows, which is a good thing because they leak and fog up. The roof will be replaced, and there'll be new lighting throughout the center. So this next thing is fun. This is a Duck Creek Central Trail, and we're having trails put in all over the city. And this is one trail that will be affecting us here. We have another one to the far east of the district, but I want to focus on this one right now. Duck Creek Central Trail. So it starts up here at West Avenue F, so Avenue F and Garland Road, and then it comes down and it ends, this segment ends at Miller Road, very near Rick Oden Park. So the design for this trail segment is about 30% complete right now. We are coordinating with Dallas County about grant funding because they have been incredible at partnering with us financially to get these trails, which are one of the top requests of Garland citizens for a long, long time. So the primary difficulty here is dealing with the railroad, because the railroad is not quick or responsive when we're trying to coordinate projects with them. So we're working with that because we have below grade crossings at Glenbrook Drive and Duck Creek. So we're going to need to do something to get the trail across those crossings. So the schedule for completion of the design is contingent upon the railroad review. All right, upcoming projects, restroom and concession replacements. Central Park Baseball is getting a new concession building, and we're looking at having that ready, finished by the end of January 2022. Central Park Football is getting a new concession stand and a restroom building that should be done by the end of March 2022. And Bradfield Park is getting a new concession stand and restroom building, should be done by the end of February 2022. One of my favorites, Embry Park Splash Pad. We are getting here in District 2 one of the first 3 splash pads approved for the city of Garland. This one is estimated to be $600,000 to $750,000, and we are working right now with design consultants because we're trying to gang some of the 3 splash pads to get better prices for all of them. Anyway, I'm looking forward to announcing that one when it opens. Okay, parking lot replacements. The Central Baseball Fields parking lot and the Granger Rec Center parking lot, they're being completely replaced with brand new concrete parking lots. And Avenue H paving, drainage, and wastewater improvements. Actually, this just got completed, so we're done with that. It just opened. It's still a little bit of cleanup and landscaping and things like that, but the street's done and it's open. Okay, so new development coming to the district. The Draper is a multifamily development, market rate. This is not a tax credit or this is not a tax credit development. It's at Avenue B and Garland Avenue, and it includes the site with the Chase Bank Tower. That's part of the overall program. So the Draper will offer 155 apartments in phase 1. Chase Bank building will eventually be repurposed to add 30 upper floor apartment units. They're looking to start construction tentatively in January 2022 and have it fully leased um, about a year or a year and a couple months later in 2023. If you're not picturing where this is, a lot of you are familiar with the old blighted, I hate to say haunted cafeteria, site of restaurants at Avenue B and Garland Avenue. I can't even remember. It was a steakhouse. It was a bunch of different buffets. All of them failed, and the building has just been deteriorating for years. It's going to be crushed and removed and replaced with these quite attractive apartments with beautiful landscaping, with some amenities, like here on the corner with Garland Avenue and Avenue B. There will be this kind of just a small green area with benches and things. Anyway, we're looking forward to that. It's primarily geared toward young working professionals. So these are smaller apartments that aren't necessarily geared toward large families. So we'll see. And it's just west of downtown, and we badly need more housing for working professionals in that area. It's a constant request. All right, here's the other new development scheduled to come to District 2. And this one is not 100% final and sure, because this is going through the state tax credit process. And in the next couple of weeks, then they're making those awards. But this one, it's hard to see how this one will not be awarded given its rating. They do this by ratings. So this is Embry East Side. It's in the area roughly of Highway 66 and Dairy. Palladium is a developer, and we have other Palladium developments in the city that have been wonderful partners. They have very happy tenants. These are places that we get we do not get complaints from, not from the police department, not from the tenants. Palladium doesn't sell their developments. They build them and they retain them. They have on-site management. They aren't flippers. And that's a very important element to me, and even having considered this. So this is a small development. It's only 107 apartment units, and they have all kinds of amenities, way more than what's listed here. These are luxury apartments. And so we're looking forward to seeing that move forward. All right, this isn't an outside development, but this is something I wanted you to be aware of. Fire Station 1, which is currently downtown in a very old building on Austin Street, is being relocated and rebuilt. And where it's going is in the General Triangle area over there, if you're familiar with Meshach's Barbecue. If you're not familiar with Meshach's Barbecue, you should be. It's almost like a cult following, and I'm part of that. So it's over there between Avenues B and D. So there will be the new fire station being built over there, and it's supposed to be completed by late 2024. And although we will miss Fire Station 1 in the immediate downtown area, this is a much better location for them, and this will be a huge help to the neighborhoods surrounding this whole area. All right, so here we are, 2021, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because we've already lived through it, but you know, this year started with a spike in COVID cases. We had an inadequate supply of vaccines provided from the state. We had a lot more people wanting them than could get them. And we had a lot of confusing messaging from both the CDC and the state. So where we are right now, as of July 4th, Dallas County health authorities announced that we had in Dallas County reached herd immunity, which basically means enough people have either had the vaccine or they had the infection in the county to slow reduce the community spread. Okay, that's good news. Most hospitalizations and deaths now in Dallas County are occurring among the unvaccinated. We're watching as the variant spread, and particularly the Delta variant, which is now quickly gaining prominence in the US if it hasn't already become the number one. So one of the things right now is I've noticed some statements in the media where they're referencing the COVID spike in Dallas County. Well, I asked our health director this morning actually, and just said, okay, are we experiencing it? Where are we in Garland? Are we experiencing a spike? And he said, no. And he gave me the numbers. Since June 20th, we have had a small weekly increase of case numbers. And I think it was like, I don't remember now, 56 and 70 something, and then 8 or 60 something, and then 80. 80 was the total new cases last week. And that does not a spike make. So it is a gradual trend upward. Not surprising given that everything is, many people are out and resuming normal life. But again, the majority, vast majority of the people who are ending up hospitalized or dead are among the unvaccinated. So take that into consideration when you're making decisions for you and your family. All right, then in February, we had Snowmageddon, where the grid, fell apart. What was supposed to be rotating outages became blackout for a lot of people in Garland for in excess of 70 hours. And I'll just put this out there. A lot of people seem to be under the assumption that Garland Power and Light, since it's our municipal company, that power from our power plants gets piped directly to Garland homes. That is simply not true. I could have possibly wished it was true in February, but it doesn't work like that. So we do have power plants. Not one of our power plants failed or came offline. None of our power plants failed in February during that whole bad time. So ours were some of the workhorses that just kept plodding along while a bunch of others fell apart. So our power plants give power to the grid, and then we, for our homes, pull power from the grid. And it's a financial advantage to us to be one of the providers and not just one of the ones taking. So anyway, I was hoping by this week to be able to share with you publicly some of the steps that are in motion to better address here in Garland. We can't fix the power grid, but to better address our lack of ability to rotate power outages when the power gets shrunken down to that small an amount. That was just, we could have rotated if there hadn't been such severe cuts, but that is something that the council and GP&L are actively working on. We will be making some announcements. I can't make them right now, but I didn't want to just leave that alone and not say something about it. So obviously this is something that we are very serious about. So finally, after Snowmageddon, then we got, the floods. The rain came down, we had flash floods that poured down from Collin County. We had flooded streets. So again, just to let you know, we are working on some ways to address that better, adding improvements to some of the vulnerable roadways and crossings, setting up better communications so that, for instance, if there is a flash flood building up upstream in Collin County, we need to be hearing about that much earlier so that we can get out and take precautions before the water actually hits us. So we're doing a lot of things. We're putting a lot of things in place to do this better for the future. We always try to learn when things go wrong to change what we need to change to do it better. All right. So then I'll end the kind of a difficult news section with July 4th. Every New Year's Eve, every July 4th, I don't travel and I answer the phone because I suffer with you instead of running away. So this July 4th, it was a mixed bag. I had some neighborhoods that said they had never experienced such a quiet July 4th. And then I had other neighborhoods, one of them I'll just say was Chandler Heights, who had those mortar fireworks going off that were just shocking. Okay, they stopped earlier than usual, so it wasn't nonstop until 4 a.m. like usually, but it was ridiculous. So we had a fireworks task force out. These are police officers who were out issuing citations We have spent over 2 years warning people that this can cost them money, or if they shoot a gun, jail time. Last year, we raised the fine for illegal fireworks from $500 to $2,000. And we have done our dead level best to get that word out everywhere, because not trying to blindside anybody, we just want them to obey the law. So on July 4th, during those hours, Garland Police Department issued 87 citations for illegal fireworks. It is illegal to even possess fireworks within city limits, and there are signs at our city limits reminding people of that when they drive in. The police also confiscated over 1,000 pounds of illegal fireworks and destroyed them. And I'll just add, I and a few other council members got to participate in the destroying this year, which means we got to push a button at the fire department's training facility, where they had all these things contained and in boxes way out in the field, and got to blow them up. So that was kind of fun. This year, Garland Police set up a special fireworks hotline to ease the call load for 911 and the non-emergency line. Every New Year's Eve and 4th of July, the phone lines get just overwhelmed with fireworks calls, and that's dangerous. We don't want, especially 911, we don't ever want that ringing forever and not getting picked up, or ringing busy, or that. We don't want that. So the fireworks hotline this year seemed to make a noticeable difference. I called the non-emergency line a couple times, and in one case it took me 3 times, just calling right after another, to get through to a person who immediately transferred me to the fireworks hotline. I'm hoping that by New Year's Eve we'll give the fireworks hotline a separate number that we can publicize, so people don't even go through non-emergency. We also are looking at, and I believe we'll be able to do this by New Year's next year, or the end of this year, whatever. We're looking at setting up e-assist with a fireworks report for these occasions, for the 2 holidays, just having it open up during those times and then close. And that would make it much easier for all of us just to be able to report without having to actually get through to somebody on a phone line. So the fireworks task force were out in neighborhoods responding to calls all night long. And I saw some of them. And I also got a lot of happy texts and emails from people saying, yay, Garland Police Department just rolled up, go get them. So they did. They could not be everywhere at once. If we had 1,000 police officers on the ground, we probably could have given out, 500 or 1,000 citations. But I think they did really well, and they were out there working hard. And this is not the most pleasant task for our officers, so So if you appreciate what they do, tell them so next time you see them. All right, crime report. And a lot of times people go, oh, when they see that. But year after year, I have to tell you, our crime report in District 2 always shocks people, because we are probably the safest district in the city. So here we go. In 2020, violent crime in District 2, and understand, District 2 has about 31,000 people. We are larger, significantly larger than the entire city of Saxe. Violent crime in our district last year was down 11%, and property crime was down 17%. That's last year. Now compare that to the whole city of Garland, which is 240,000 people, and it's the 96th largest city in the US. So we are not a small town, we are a large city. Violent crime in the whole city was down 4%, and property crime was down 13% during the same time frame. Crime being down in a city our size at all is astonishing. Crime in this district being down to this level is very happy news. Let's go to this year. In 2021 through the end of May, violent crime in District 2 was down 47% from 2020. And understand, 2020 was down from previous years. Property crime was down 22%. And again, by comparison, violent crime in the city of Garland was down 14%. Property crime was down 1% over the same time frame. Very, very well done, Garland Police Department. Here is the crime heat map, okay? And whoops, let me see if I can go back. I clicked too soon. This is a heat map, and this shows intensity of crime reports, okay? This isn't by different kinds of crime. This is intensity of crime reports. And you can see these bluish areas are just kind of generally the background of sprinkled out calls about any number of things. These areas with pink and especially with red, most of these are on Dallas borders. These are where you get a lot of intense calls, all right? Look real hard, and the yellow, which is, it looks kind of beige on my screen right now, but it's actually yellow. These are before pink, before red. So if you look at our district here outlined to look like Texas, you can see that the only places we even have yellow are here in the far northwest corner, and this includes our downtown area and the areas west of that, and also down here in the very southern tip of our district. But other than that, we are a pretty quiet district as far as the intensity of crime activity. All right, I want to make sure to go over this. Your neighborhood has a secret weapon. And if you don't know that, it's time to figure it out. Each neighborhood police officer is assigned to a specific part of the city. So your neighborhood has a neighborhood police officer. These are four of the ones that cover, these are the 4 NPOs that cover most of District 4. We have a couple others that have little tiny pieces, but these are the ones that I most interact with. And they are really good. And I'll just point out, Officer Franey is my neighborhood's NPO. And just for an example, at New Year's this year, we had a neighbor who was putting off those giant mortars just all night long. I can't even tell you how many calls I got. He never, apparently, he wasn't one of the ones who got a ticket. So I was just not looking forward to July 4th. And I asked Officer Franey if he could just pay him a visit and make sure he knows the repercussions, financial repercussions for a repeat performance. So Officer Franey knocked his door and just had a friendly chat with him and let him know. And I will tell you, this year, my neighborhood was one of the quieter ones. It's never been this quiet since we've lived here. So your NPOs can do amazing things. Other NPOs I've heard have gotten intel from neighbors and have shut down drug houses. They have shut down chronic party places. They can do a lot of things. So make use of them. Find who your neighborhood police officer is. You can go to our website and use the My Garland link. Type in your address and it'll show you who your NPO is and who your council person is, who your trash person is, who your code inspector is. It'll show you everything. And it'll also give you all of their contact information. Make sure to go ahead and use them. Okay, so I'm going to leave this up for a minute, and I would like to end with, if I can, I'm going to stop the share screen now. I want to end with a video provided by the Garland Police Department, if I can find it on here. Okay.
In 1993, Garland created a community police program called the Neighborhood Service Team. Although initially developed for only certain neighborhoods, the unit went through several growth periods until it covered the entire city and was renamed the Neighborhood Police Officer Unit. Every part of Garland has a dedicated neighborhood police officer.
We are responsible for liaisoning with the community and community leaders and try to handle quality of life crimes within the neighborhoods and in the districts we're assigned.
Within their assigned area, your officer works with residents, homeowners associations, the apartment manager groups, and businesses. They work to identify crime trends and specific problems within neighborhoods, formulating strategies to address the issues, and executing plans to ensure these issues are dealt with.
It's fostering strong relationships with different community groups within a specific area. By doing this, it helps us enhance the quality of life for the citizens of Garland by helping us reduce crime within those areas.
Neighborhood police officers also coordinate several community programs, such as the Neighborhood Crime Watch program, designed to reduce the number of residential burglaries and criminal activities within the neighborhood.
We work together in helping reduce crime, identifying crime trends, things of that nature within that specific neighborhood.
The Citizens on Patrol program, where citizens get the opportunity to take an active role in crime prevention in their own neighborhoods. The Residential Lockbox program, a program designed to expedite access to senior adults in their own homes during medical or other emergencies.
I believe that the community is more likely to contact the police and be associated with us when they know who they're talking to, opposed to calling 911 and getting a random officer. That's what we want to encourage, is people calling, opposed to not calling or feel that they're an inconvenience to the police department when it's our job to come out here and handle the problems.
Your neighborhood police officer continually works to educate on ways to reduce crime and keep our streets safe.
The people in our neighborhoods are the eyes and ears of the department, honestly. Without them, there's only so much we can do. But with this information they give us, allows us to go out and improve that quality of life in that neighborhood.
I would tell them to look on the website and look up who your MPO is, and if you have an issue, just email them directly and with whatever problems you have. And I think that those people will find out how responsive that MPO is, because he is servicing a smaller area.
To find out more information about the Neighborhood Police Officer Program, or to learn about your officer, go to garlandpolice.com. We look forward to getting to know you better.
All right. Well, that concludes this repeat of the town hall. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I am here for you. So thank you and goodbye.